For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
NewsSpin is the best. Listen up. NewsSpin is the best. Me say listen up massive. NewsSpin is the best, yeah. Better than every talk show. The most conscious monitor talk show. All across the world. Check your signal, it blaze up the airwave. NewsSpin on your radio, hear me now. Tune in the frequency, come along, Junior. NewsSpin a vice up the play. NewsSpin is the best. Listen to the massive. NewsSpin is the best. Knowledge must abound. NewsSpin is the best. Fancy moon knock a play way. NewsSpin is the best. Papa Bond, yeah, by team, all man. Across the land, all across the globe. Echoes of voices, we join in hands in hands. Harmony rising with the afternoon sun. Come along, NewsSpin has begun. NewsSpin is the best. Better than every talk show. The most conscious monitor talk show in the world. The true facts about Sophia volcano, Sandy Beach, banana and Sneem Malmo. Voices from the chat room, the capital Castries Hills. We feel the warm Caribbean breeze, teaching the truth, making hearts feel ease. Knowledge must open up every mind. Learn about your island home. We leave no one behind. NewsSpin on your radio. Pull up the volume, Jay. NewsSpin on your radio. Pull up your seats. Afternoon time. NewsSpin on your radio. Come along. NewsSpin on your radio. Let the message strong. for all. From city streets to mountain stars. Learn your history, share your dreams. Together we line the world with our hymns. NewsSpin is the best. Better than every talk show. The most conscious monitored talk show in the world.
From January to November, nothing happens. Everywhere quiet, like a generator that forgot how to start. Then December comes and suddenly one basket of rice appears. And people celebrate like it fell from heaven. As election gets closer, they add small money and expect you to dance like you just won a lottery. This strategy never ends, and they just repackage it like old soup inside a brand new pot. They gather your parents for rallies, shouting under the sun, while some go out and never return home. Oh, people, wake up. How did you get here? And when will you stop clapping for crumbs and start asking for real food?
If you're having lunch at this time, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. It is called NewsSpin. It's on Power 97.9 FM, and the broadcast is also on your NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. As always, don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell to help the channel grow. My name is Timothy Poleon. We'll be together until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Jante is here, already going through some of your comments in the chat rooms. You'll be able to call as well in just a bit at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Your recommendations regarding some of the issues we should be discussing today. Somebody says, sinking ship. Another one, or the hacks keep making excuses for them so they don't need to take responsibility for anything. That's not the recommendations, but actually it is the NewsSpin question of the day. My apologies to you. Ever wonder why the St. Lucia government takes no responsibility for anything that goes wrong? Ever wonder why the St. Lucia government takes no responsibility for anything that goes wrong? And the response is sinking ship. Another person says, or the hacks keep making excuses for them so they don't need to take responsibility for anything. Another comment, because they have a supermajority, and it continues there. Just bear with me, trying to go through that comment there. We just have some slight technical issue. It says there, because they have a supermajority that makes them answerable to no one, they also know that people will forget what they have done within a few days. Another one says, the John Compton Dam was built in 1995 by UWP. Dredging was talked about for years, but nothing happened. It was only in 2019 under Alan Chastney and the UWP that real dredging finally began. And another recommendation, somebody says, from Timbuktu to St. Lucia. Some of the recommendations regarding what we should be discussing on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. And we also provided you with our NewsSpin question of the day. Ever wonder why the St. Lucia government takes no responsibility for anything that goes wrong? We tend to ignore the fact that we still have a serious crime problem on our hands, manifesting itself every now and then these days. Over the last few months, more acute, but now every now and then we have a homicide in St. Lucia. I think we're at number 14 now. Fortunately, the death of a man who is believed to be from the south of the island in his late 20s. We've not been able to receive official information from the police, but from what we know, he is known as Zacchaeus, and he is from Vieux, and he has been living in Castries over the last few years. So he was gunned down in the Conway area last evening. So once again, yet another homicide being recorded in St. Lucia, that of a young male in his late 20s, known to us only as Zacchaeus. Reportedly, he is from the south of the island, and he has been living in Castries over the last few years. Condolences to his family, to his friends as well, and of course, the wider St. Lucian society. Those are issues that we ought not to ignore. Homicides, serious crimes, and crime in general. Because it moves from 14, it goes to 20. And as we have experienced over the last few years in St. Lucia, we get to the point where we record over 70 homicides. I don't think we have reached over 80. And you can recall that, for example, just a few years ago in Trinidad and Tobago, they recorded over 600 homicides. And all of a sudden, people in Trinidad were absolutely horrified by what had happened. In Jamaica, it has been over 1,000 homicides for a year, although they have brought that figure down drastically over the last few years through the hard work of the police commissioner and, to a certain extent, the Prime Minister and his administration. We need not come to the point where we become too inured to crime, where we accept it, where we see it as part of our daily living, part of life, because those things add up in terms of damage being done to St. Lucia's reputation. And believe you me, it's not only your reputation as an individual that matters, the reputation of a country. I know a lot of people talk about, in particular, government ministers and officials, the ease of doing business and our ranking as far as the perception of corruption in a country. But crime, you know, when you find yourself recording on an annual basis so many homicides for a small developing country, that sends a bad signal to the rest of the world. And whether it's the government, whether it's working in collaboration with the citizenry, the police, we need to create an environment that at least appears to be sufficiently stable, where crime is brought under control. The likes of Switzerland, Norway, and those countries, there's crime, you know. But nothing that significant, because there's a culture of intolerance from the level of the government right down to the ordinary man and woman in the street. One homicide definitely would cause people in those countries to shiver, to fret, to be concerned, to lose sleep. But unfortunately, we have reached the point now when we hear homicide, no big deal. You remember the days when the sound of a siren was a big deal in St. Lucia? Now, nearly every hour, come across the blaring sounds of an ambulance, a siren, and that would certainly indicate that somebody has maybe through some tragic accident, some incident, etc. We have gotten injured. It's no big deal for us anymore. So we need to bring crime under some level of control that will be alarmed when we hear that we have recorded a homicide. Do not, reach a point where you just absolve the state of responsibility for that kind of environment, whichever political party that is in office. Because today, it is Zacchaeus. Tomorrow, it can be anyone in the St. Lucian society. And also, there's something called collateral damage. Criminal elements want to settle a scores, aim for one individual, and you have a situation where somebody who's innocent going along their business, and they are injured, worst case scenario, shot and killed in the process. So let's take this crime problem seriously. One other issue, Marcellus Backsteed continues to be in the news, reacting to the talk, the comment that was made by the investment minister earlier this week, when he apologized. He says that, well, he didn't, but he says that people of St. Lucia, the beach users, they need an apology. People using the Ridgely Beach, likewise the developers, they need an apology. I mean, all of a sudden, boy, we're just jumping quickly to the defense of developers, the white man. We making excuses, apologies for the white man. That wasn't the case just a few years ago. But anyway, here's Bax's reaction.
For any government minister to tell you they were doing this or they were doing that, they're not being genuine. History in the Caribbean have taught us, right? People that control the land, they control the power, and then they get to do whatever they want at a later date. And it's a clear example. You have the Petor development where they allow a guy to put a house on the Petor, right? No, we don't have access to that anymore like the way we did. Secrets just built a hotel. They put a jetty and they made it very uncomfortable for people. And these guys are doing the same thing. And we will not accept offense in the water. That's a clear violation of the law. So for anyone to come and tell you anything that I violated the law, they violated the law, and I enforced the law.
Marcellus Backsteed, he's a law enforcer, he says. Let's take your calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Once again, Shanti is here, going through your comments in the chat room. And momentarily, I'm sure she'll be having a few updates for us. Also coming up on the program, your words can haunt you. So 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. And let's see if we have a call on the line. We go straight to that call. Hello, good afternoon, you're on the air.
Tim, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
And good afternoon, Janty. Tim, somebody make a comment on your program last week. Now, I know you would say, well, last week, why I'm going to that. But the person had his radio turned very loud. But he was making a very good comment. And I think he was referring to borrowing, Tim. You could recall?
Yes, I remember.
Now, the gentleman in question make a very good comment. And I, as a tradesman, Tim, if I am building a house for you, and I tell you it's $100, I do all my requisite checks, do everything and make sure it's end up at $100. I know that it's for $100. Now, I want to put that to the current borrowing. When the Prime Minister last year, I think, borrowed $200 million from the Saudis. And these are things that we should never make to be raised, because at the end of the day, we are the one that have to pay for that. Taxpayers, it's a must pay. You cannot escape that. And then he said, it's for St. Jude, and some of that money will be for the stadium, which so-called Michi Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But then, up to a day, even as we speak, the Prime Minister did not have the guts to come back to us and tell us, as Prime Minister of Finance, this is what I spend on the stadium, and this is what I spend on the hospital. There is a surplus, a reserve, or something left, whatever it is, or there is nothing left. And then at least we can, whether we don't see document to prove that, we can say, okay, fine.
But caller, is that your business? I'm just asking.
I am a concerned citizen. Everything that is happening when we would have to pay the extra cost him, and even you in the studio, it matters to you.
Because, you see, people do not see the necessity when their party is in office to ask questions of their governments. I mean, I could imagine somebody thinking, why is he asking that? Why isn't he making that an issue? That's not an issue. You know, I mean, why belabor the point? No pun intended.
Because I watch TV, I sit in parliamentary session in the UK, in the US, and person would tell you, oh, this is what, and they always have a report for the Senate and for this and for that. Now, these are the reasons why I'm bringing it. I know some person, not everybody, people are so comfortable because they are following, supporting a political party, and they don't give a damn what happened and what happened. They just accept it as the norm. But what I want people to understand, at some appointed time, we must pay for that money. That's what I'm saying. We just cannot get away. So if we have to pay for it, why we cannot ask questions?
You know what is preventing us, Calder, from asking the appropriate questions when whomever is the finance minister goes to the house to borrow, we don't see the necessity sometimes to ask the question. It's because, we never give serious thought to the impact that kind of borrowing is having on us. We tell ourselves we're not feeling it, but we do feel it, because when those loans have to be paid, and as a result of that, the government has to forego investing in certain things in terms of the education of our children, in terms of medication at our various health institutions, in terms of more police officers, in terms of our safety, etc. That's where it starts to affect us. But we never attribute it to the level of borrowing that takes place in our country. But continue, sir.
That is correct, and that is what I'm saying. I want person to understand me very well. I am not accusing anybody of anything. I am not saying you cannot borrow. The question is you must borrow. And I have always said, if you are borrowing, if you tell me you're going to borrow $100 million to open the road from Castries to Viewport, to me, I don't care if that, Tim. I'm going to save a few suspension on my vehicle. But then I am questioning the level of borrowing, and then I am not getting the result of this borrowing. When I heard $600 million borrowed, and then I'm looking at the trend that the world have been taking right now, you have serious wars in the Middle East, and even some of those Arab countries who did not want to take part, they had an emergency meeting last night to decide the next course of action, that they would have to retaliate to go at Iran, and that will be, and if that thing prolonged, price of everything will be go up. And then we now in that small little third world country, we just borrowing $600 million. And so that's just it, man. And I am questioned, because I know in the time to come, I may not be there till not even you on NewsSpin, but our young people, my grandson and my granddaughter, will have a serious challenge, because apparently they will be there still, and still have to go through that problem. And that is what that can create anarchy in a country. When you are loaded with borrowing, and then there is instability, and people believe that they can just take matters and do what they want, because it's like chaos. So I am concerned about the level of borrowing. And then I have heard before that this administration said that they were not borrowing like the previous administration. And based on what I have told, that this administration have been borrowing more. So I don't have to call the comparison, but then based on what I have, that this administration are borrowing. Now, if you borrowing, give me the result of what you're borrowing. Let me see what happened. Don't just tell me you borrow because you have this so-called leverage in Parliament, this 16-1 or 15-2 from previous before election, and it gave you the right to just borrow because you have no opposition and you're doing as you please. But never forget, borrowing have its limit, and there will be a time, whether you have opposition or not, somebody will have to make the sacrifice. And when I said somebody, the country, the people, the ordinary man on the street will have to pay more tax, because to facilitate those heavy borrowing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. We have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello?
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, to your assistant, too. Timothy did.
Hello?
Projects, all CIP projects has been stopped.
Beg your pardon?
Did I heard the invest minister said that? Did I heard the Mr. of Investment said that?
No, I didn't hear that comment. I didn't hear him make that comment.
Would stop or is stopped?
No, I didn't hear that comment, ma'am.
He never said that.
No, I didn't hear him say that, no.
He never said Galaxy at Canals, the project at Canals has stopped?
Well, that project has been, I think it has been stalling. I won't say stopped. It has been stalled. Meaning...
Timothy,
so my grandmother there.
You need to go down to Canals. And the kind of work that is going on in Canal, it will not stall, it will not stop, nothing is happening to it, then it is going on. The other thing, the amount of Chinese that are down there working, I don't think they have one solution. Timothy, these people have already put the columns to block so persons very soon will not have access to the beach. These persons, those Galaxy persons, not buying anything from St. Lucia. They have cranes, they have backhoe, they have loaders, they have all kind of equipment. Even concrete bricks. These people have a machine doing their own bricks. And very soon they will block the entrance. Persons will not have access to that beach. And work is going on speedily on that project. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you, ma'am.
Work is going on speedily on this project. The minister need to come clean and speak the truth and let people know what is going on and do not spit in people's eye and call it rain. That is bad. Speak the truth. You need to go down there too. I tell you, even brick machine these people have. They have their crane, they have everything on the project, and work is going on. Not one St. Lucian employee there.
Now, caller,
so I'm wondering what is going on.
Where are the pressure groups, caller? Where are they?
No, but Timothy, I don't know, but these things have to come to light. Persons need to know about that. Persons need to go and see. This is not right. I mean, do not say something and another thing is happening.
Okay,
the project is going on. The project is going on
as we speak,
as fast as ever. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. This is not the first time I've heard about this particular project and the fact that you have almost 100% of the employees being Chinese nationals from China. And now we are hearing from this particular caller that all the materials that are being utilized to undertake this particular project are coming from overseas. So the labor, the material, you name it, what's in it for us in St. Lucia. And don't talk about our passports financing that project as well. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. You have to answer the question now. Where are the pressure groups in St. Lucia when you really need their intervention? We have a call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon to you. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm fine. Jande, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
I heard you give a number a while ago.
The NewsSpin stat.
So concerning homicide.
Yes.
I want you to list those names. Omar Phillips. Count them.
That's one.
Roger Crick. Albert Henry Nelson. Biscom, the security officer at Laclery. Jamari Joseph, that is Moggy's brother at Miku. Kenton Joseph, the guy who was found buried at Bruceville in Beaufort. Something Jonas at La Pointe, Monrepo. You listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Octavia Benoit, stabbed at Monchy. Something Joseph, shot at Ciceron. Shondell de Terville, shot at Ancillary. How many of these? How many have you got, Jim?
That's 10.
I'm short of one. Omar Phillips, 1. Albert Henry Nelson, 2. Roger Crick, 3. Biscom, 4. Jamari Joseph, 5. Jonas, 6. Kenton Joseph, 7. Octavia, 8. Jean-Juan Hippolyte of Badini, killed at Badichose, that's 9. Shondell de Terville, that's 10. There's one I'm missing, Tim. There's one I'm missing. I have my list, but as you know, I cannot see it visually. But it's supposed to be 12 up to last Friday. And we've had 4 homicides this week, Tim. 4 for this week. 1 at Canals, 1 at Deriso, 1 at Labancy, and 1 at Conway.
So it's saying it should be 16?
It should be 16. And not to mention that the body was unearthed at Bannon's Bay a month ago, and we're yet to hear anything about that body. The excavator dug up at Bannon's Bay. So I leave a question mark by that one. Okay, Tim?
All right, sir.
It's supposed to be 16. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
So you just heard there from the NewsSpin statistician. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's turn our attention now to the NewsSpin chat room reporter. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Shanti.
Good afternoon, Tim. Starting off on YouTube, our first comment reads, "This young man is no angel. Do your investigation."
Well, let me intervene there, Shanti, because it does not matter. Now, I mean, we've heard in the Bible, who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. Who is an angel in St. Lucia? Name an angel in St. Lucia, Shanti. Name an angel. Who is an angel? We have no angels. You an angel? You?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we have no angels in St. Lucia. And I hate it when people say, this guy is no angel, as if you were an angel. You're being a hypocrite. All right? And irrespective of the person's background, the person's reputation, we have no laws in St. Lucia that we should be practicing an eye for an eye. Because can you imagine the number of people who would have been killed because somebody wronged them or they wronged somebody? Yeah. Right now, it would not be, according to the NewsSpin statistician, would not be at 16. We're probably at what? Maybe 6,000. Okay, so I hate to have people say, this individual was an angel, that person was an angel. A human being, a solution. If he wasn't an angel, you have laws to deal with whatever illegal acts that he would have committed. The system fails because you need to arrest people when they are not angels, when they do things that are illegal. Bring them before the magistrate or judge, find them guilty first, and then you penalize them. Continue.
PJP has not yet understood that the money he is borrowing in the name of GOSL is the responsibility of taxpayers to repay. His Majesty PJP refuses to tell St. Lucians how much was spent. Another YouTube comment here reading, "We must stop referring to small islands as developing countries because developing never stops. America and Europe are still developing." Moving to Facebook, our first comment reads, "AA, so that's number 15 team that we know of. Like it's only Marcy, Syrians, gas stations, and funeral homes making the money in St. Lucia. Tim, per capita, we are the murder capital of the Caribbean." We have another comment here saying, "Tim, they are immature. Maturity can only take place when we learn to take responsibility for our actions. Right now, the sound of a siren is like your alarm clock. Box exposed the SLP hypocrites." We have a few more comments here reading, "The beach is mine. I can bathe at any time." Box is right. Helia would not do anything about it. Box for police commissioner. We have another comment reading, "Kenny Anthony and Thaddeus Antoine were responsible for the Pigeon Point fiasco, and they tried to place the blame on Alan Chasney. Bax is a Labour. He saw the problem at the beach. Why is it more Labours could not stand with him?" Caller, when a government wins elections with 2/3 majorities, you must not question them. We have more comments from our Facebook page saying, "Tutsaki pa bo se flabo. Tutsaki bo se SLP ki fei." It's like every bad thing that happens is the fault of the opposition and St. Lucians, and everything good, it's the government's doings. Caller, the hack still defending, so people can talk till they are blue in the face. That government will drag the country till it disappears. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. I think in the chat room somebody says that the NewsSpin statistician forgot to mention the individuals who was fatally stabbed in Bois Patat last week. So, Mr. NewsSpin statistician, you heard. Somebody wrote in the chat room, that's on YouTube, you forgot to mention the one who was fatally stabbed in the Bois Patat area last week. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Let's take a call on the landline. Hello, good afternoon to you. NewsSpin, you are on the air.
Timothy, a pleasant good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
All over the world, TW on the line, Timothy. Timothy, in St. Lucia.
Okay, hold on, caller. Hold on, PW.
Yeah.
Just received information from a source saying there are 17 homicides so far. 2 bodies found with marks of violence. And the person says, I have that Bannon body as 17. So it is 17 homicides. And that's coming from a reliable source. Go ahead, PW.
Timothy, in St. Lucia and the Caribbean, when people have been placed in managerial positions, if something is wrong, they are afraid to rock the boat. I say this because I want to go back to Mr. Steve Bax to commend him and to applaud the action he has taken. On every construction site, especially a construction site of that magnitude, the DCA has employees on that site. Also, NCA has employees on that site again, Timothy. I have been on these sites many times. Ministry of Infrastructure do have employees on these sites on a regular basis. So I am wondering why all these organizations, institutions were not aware of the fencing that took place on the beach. Every project has its boundaries, and these organizations are there to see whether these boundaries are kept or whether they are infringed upon. So the government of St. Lucia knew very well that the fencing on the beach was erected not according to the boundaries of the project. Invest St. Lucia is on the project all the time, Timothy. I'm aware of that. Government officials, and I have the proof to prove to you, Timothy, government officials do have meetings with the owners and the people managing this project on a regular basis. Why this wasn't brought to the attention of the owners and the people managing these projects? It shows that the government has no regard, these organizations have no regard for the St. Lucian public. And I am proud of Steve Bax for taking such action. This must never happen again. These organizations have to do their jobs and always come to the rescue of the St. Lucian citizens. Timothy, I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. 452-2979. Once again, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And let us see if we have any of your messages to go through. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, I need to know what's going on with NIC, asking for myself. Are they bankrupt? Because no way from November of last year I sent in an injury claim, and up till now the state NIC has not been able to pay me. That's according to our WhatsApp message. Let's see if we have another message. Somebody says, just wanted to say, Tim, I'm very proud of Bax. Imagine if you're having Bax at this time, having lunch this afternoon. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. And somebody says there via WhatsApp, I don't know how Philip J. Pierre can just borrow money for projects and he doesn't have any costing. So nobody doesn't know how much money is for what. Soon you're just going to hear about cost overrun. Now the Minister of Finance / Prime Minister cannot tell Lucians what happened to the $201 million that he borrowed for St. Jude Hospital project. And now he's going to borrow $600 million with no costing again. What is going on? Let's see if we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello, good day.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good day, Timothy. Good day, Amanda. What I want to share...
It's not Amanda. Janti.
Oh, I'm sorry, Janti.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right.
What I find interesting, whenever the SLP want to make an excuse, they will say, well, it wasn't us. Cabot had nothing to do with us. It was the UWP. They would tell you, oh, Galaxy had nothing to do with us. It was the UWP. But when the UWP is in power, they don't tell you it wasn't us when it comes to DSH. They still take the blame. They still get all the insults. But the SLP has made it a habit. They will always tell you, oh, it wasn't us. It was the UWP. So for Cabot, UWP. When it comes to Galaxy, it was the UWP. So why do you get into government? Isn't it for you to fix the problems that you got? And that's what they claim when they're in opposition. But when they're in power, they blame the UWP for all the problems and they don't fix it. Now, if the UWP gets into power, the UWP can never claim that they are trying to fix FLP mess, you know. They will not claim that. They will take responsibility and they will get it done. And that's something we have to hold the SLP accountable for. You cannot still be blaming an Alan Chasney administration for things that happened 6 years ago. You had a full term to fix it. You campaign on the fact that you had brought the country to a good place. And now that you've won, you're going back. And you're complaining Alan Chasney again. So at what point will the Labour Party say, I'm governing the country and we are responsible and we will fix it? That's my contribution. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. 4522979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And let us see if we have another WhatsApp message. What you're saying there, somebody says they've WhatsApp. My 6-year-old son is asking, why hasn't Lucilec relocated the poles on the back road? At 6 years old, he's intelligent enough to understand the potential danger the poles pose. How many more months will it take for something so simple to be done? Okay, we take a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, Tim and John T.
Yes, good afternoon to you, sir.
Hi, Tim. Just to piggyback on what the last caller just said there, if you politics 101, anybody who studied even the introductory course to political science, they know after 2 years in office, a government loses the right to complain about the previous government. You can make mention of certain things, you can make a reference, but by that time, and even Obama said that, it's now ours. You own the problem. You said you're going to solve it. You've had 24 months to put plans in place, even if the problem still exists. Instead of coming up to complain and blame somebody else, you come with plans to tell us what you're going to do. Because we know the problems. All of us know it. That's why we elected you, or you said you're going to do it, and now you're elected to take care of the problems. So when you get 4.5, 5 years in and you're trying to blame somebody else, it means you're covering up, you're scared, you don't know what you're doing, you're weak, you're incompetent, and you have no plans. Because if you did, you'd be tabling those out and not be blaming people. For example, last week I listened to some of the contributions made in the House. And I saw a coordinated effort by government MPs to target the $61 million, the dredging the UWP did in their term. But they never told us that for the 4.5, they said the UWP did 8% when they were there. They never said what percentage they did when they were there in the 4.5 years. So why didn't they continue it? So you did not. You keep telling us water is life. You keep telling us you know how essential it is, but you were there for 4.5 years, you didn't do anything. And they had better opportunities than the UWP to do it. Here's why. If you remember in 2016, when Kenny Anthony called the election, he said they hit a brick wall. They cannot borrow money. Nobody lend them money because they said they have to get the house in order. So they mismanaged. He and Pierre was a deputy. They mismanaged the economy to the extent that they couldn't borrow money. They quickly called an election hoping the UWP would win. The UWP won, came in. Another thing we know when it comes to finance of a country, if you get yourself in dire straits, it takes about minimum 18 months, but usually 24 to 36 months to get you out of a trouble like that. So you lose 2 years, 2 to 3 years, let's say 2.5 years you lose trying to fix the problems of the country. So the last UWP administration, if we are being realistic and honest, and we're not trying to play politics with it, they had 24 months or more, maybe 36, let's give them 2.5 years to fix the country's finances. Then they had a year and a half to govern, and then COVID hit. So the beginning, they entered with a crisis. And you don't only say that if you're a supporter. It's reality. That's what happened. You entered, there's a problem. It takes you 2 years, 2.5 years to fix it. You start governing from 2018, 2019, and then boom, 2020, March, the whole world shuts down. You have a pandemic. The first 3 years, UWP borrowed $300 million. Somebody mentioned the finances a while ago. And then when COVID hit, they had to borrow another $500 million to straighten out the country because our income, which is tourism, wasn't there anymore. So $800 million about there, that's what the UWP borrowed in its entire time there. So far, I think the SLP had borrowed $1.1 billion, and now they're coming back to borrow another 650 million, which brings us to about $1.7 billion. If you've had that kind of money, let's say we take away $500 billion for running the government, running the country, paying bills and rents and whatever else. Okay, let's give them $6 billion to do all the stuff they need to do. Another $1 billion for all the under the table stuff they do it and giving people handouts and all kinds of stuff like that. We're still left with $3 billion. I drove around St. Lucia. I look at all the places. I don't see $3 billion worth of work. I don't see $3 billion worth of anything. And that's being generous.
But Colin, are you saying that the government, since it got into office, borrowed $7 billion? Because it does not make sense.
No. Listen to what I listen to what I said. I said they had. I didn't say what the source. If you add all the budget, if you add the budgets for the last four years plus the half the year what Chastney left behind, that's $8 billion. The budget. If you add all the budgets, 2.1, 2.2, 1.8.
I think our debt is just a little over, or maybe close to $5 billion.
Well, that's the debt, but I'm talking about the budget. If you look at the statements the Prime Minister put forward each year for the last 4 years, that's $8 billion.
I get your point.
Okay? And then they had, let's say CIP is supposed to be another 2.8 or whatever, but let's be conservative and say we get $1 billion from CIP. Okay? That's $9 billion. And the other borrowings and the $200 million for the hospital or whatever, let's say another $1 billion. So that's like $10 billion. And according to all the numbers, it should be more than that. But let's be conservative and say $10 billion. Even if it's $9 billion, do you see $3 billion worth of work in St. Lucia? I didn't see it. The airport's not done. The hospital's not done. There's no medication. People complain around the place. The water problem is acute. If you say water is life, and you keep saying that, you come and say, water is life, we know the importance of water. You spent 4.5 years there. You didn't dredge, not even 1%, but you quarreling with the government that was there before you that dredged 8%. Plus, the government had to put, the first $25 million the government spent was to set the foundation, do the feasibility studies, put things in position. You have to do the foundation, the groundwork, just like you go to build a house before you even build a house. And then there are 3 levels to the dam. The dam, the bottom level, which is critical, which is important, was sedimented. So you have to get to those holes on the bottom there. Otherwise, it's an exercise in futility. Any engineer who knows their work will tell you that. So we need leadership. We need these people to, instead of standing up there and blaming somebody else, let them know that they know that because they studied. They have PhDs, and I don't know where they got them from because obviously either they know that and they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, or they that stupid. Because after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're complaining about the people who actually did 8% and you did nothing, but you want to tell St. Lucians they are to be blamed. Now, if we are portioning blame, let's do that. UWP is supposed to take some blame. Out of the last 7 elections, the SLP won 5, the UWP won 2. So let's divide that into 100. We get 28% blame for UWP, 72% blame for SLP. They still get the lion's share. Pierre has been there as Deputy Prime Minister and Prime Minister for 5 terms. He is supposed to be the most ready. He's been there for everything from 1997. He was either in opposition or in government. There with Kenny Anthony. 5 out of 7 terms. He has people around him who's been there. He has a senior minister in Stephenson King. Richard Frederick has been there. Emma Hippolyte. These people are not newbies on the field. Are they the problem? Because if with all that experience, all that money, y'all been there for so long, and you're still trying to blame the one government that had to deal with COVID and your financial mess from 2006, and y'all want to blame them. And we St. Lucians are sitting down there, listening to them, letting them get away with it. Tim, I'm getting frustrated. A lot of people are getting frustrated. We're getting sick and tired of this. I listened to the House of Assembly there, and I heard the problems. They come, they speak, then they tell you, they stand up in support of they blame. I listened to Richard Frederick, I listened to the one from Cashew Southeast. They blame, they sit down there, give us all the revisionist history on the UWP and blame it. And I stand in support of the bill. I was waiting for them to tell me, here are the strategies, here are the solutions we're going to put for the future. So they look backwards. They put the blame on somebody. They don't tell us nothing of what they're going to do. You are elected to solve the problems. Yes, you tell us what the problem is. Tell us what you're going to do. They all sit down there, blame somebody else, and people in St. Lucia sit down there. Because they voted for the government, they don't want to hold them accountable. We cannot keep running a country like that. We need leadership. We need people to come up with Stephenson King was the one I heard that make, and he said that several times. Give him his credit. I've heard him say that for like the 10, 15 years. He said, we need to have a plan, a long-term plan. and he repeated that again last week, we need to have a plan that says, and we need to put it in legislation, that certain plans, when the government comes in, they cannot stop. It has to continue because we lose too much money, too much time. Government start, stop. Even the EU have a plan. The African Union have a plan 2063. Every little town and city around the United States, in Singapore, where they have plans for 2045, 2050. They have a vision plan. They have a long-term plan. They tweak it as they go along. What is St. Lucia doing? Standing up there and telling us who's to blame. Here's the problem. Who's to blame for it? And they offer us nothing. We get nothing from this government. We have a government that has the most money of any government in the history of St. Lucia, and these people are standing up there telling us blame people who were there 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they take no responsibility. They cannot do the job, get out, and leave it for somebody to do it. We are sick and tired of that bullshit. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much for calling. Somebody says that, Tim, there should be caller of the month. Bravo, sir. That's according to a comment extracted from the chat room. Still to come on the broadcast. Your words can haunt you. We'll provide the evidence.
What happens when the music is stripped down to the truth? On April 29th, First National Bank presents the Teddyson John Experience at the luxurious Royalton Resorts. Raw vocals, live music, real emotion, an intimate night where Teddyson John opens the heart of the music. Also from Trinidad and Tobago, featuring Nyla Blackman. From St. Lucia, Michael Robinson. I'm gonna make you mine. Herb Black. I'm so sorry. Umpa. And Ricky T. Sharing their stories behind the songs and connects with you up close. This is more than a concert. It's a feeling. Stripped. April 29th. Royalton Resorts. Limited seats. One unforgettable night. It's definitely my type of night and my type of vibes.
Tickets for this event are $100 USD. Food and drinks inclusive. Ticket locations: Anthony's Jewelry, Castries and Baywalk, The Wave, and online 4circlestickets.com.
Are you ready? Get set. Let's go green with Loose Select. No more paper, no more mess. Easy billing, no stress. Use my account to pay online. Pay your bill at any time. Get the stress off your mind. No more standing in line.
Visit LootSelect.com today and sign up to my account to pay your bill. Request a temporary or new connection or switch an account to your tenant's name. Do it all online.
Personal, paperless. Use the virtual service desk. Are you ready? Get set. Let's go green with Loose Select.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbute at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. Fast pay, Fast pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
FastPay, 2 minutes and you're on your way. FastPay, FastPay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Chronic back pain, arthritis, spinal injuries, nerve disorders, even painful cramps. These conditions affect daily life, but you don't have to live with pain. Every day matters when it comes to your health. At La Clinique du Corps, we provide fast, accurate diagnosis with advanced GE-certified MRI technology and internationally recognized specialists. Our focus is safe, effective treatment that restores mobility, relieves pain, and gives you back your quality of life. Call 451-6559 today. 451-6559. La Clinique du Corps, because time is vital in health.
First National Bank is here for you. Let's make your first wish come true. With a mortgage built around you, tailored to make sure everything's smooth. 100% financing, it's true. Get a first wish mortgage, it's the best move. Get your mortgage now and fulfill your first wish. Just knowing that First National Bank is here for you. Let's make your first wish come true.
Visit your First National Bank branch or firstnationalbankonline.com to apply for your first wish mortgage.
At Caribbean Pastouche Limited, we offer high-quality products from Martinique, and our ready mix is made with casting sand, not regular pumice. Compared to regular pumice, casting sand saves you in your cement use. At Caribbean Pastouche Limited, our materials come from porcelain stones, which is used as an additive in creating cement. Caribbean Pastouche Limited is located in Bexon, behind Essential Hardware. Give us a call at 489-0074. We're open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sundays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Caribbean Pastouche Limited. Quality construction, our priority.
The ultimate Easter Sunday experience is coming as Optimum Events presents Rise 6 Azul. Rise 6 Azul. Shades of blue and unforgettable energy featuring soca sensation Vaughn.
Everybody know what our behavior. From July reach in Grenada.
Vaughn live.
Just take a shot when they see me dog. I want to get drunk for the carnival.
The Grenadian bad boy, Vaughn. Also, Ezra, Sly, and the Impulse Band, alongside the best DJs. Easter Sunday, 3 p.m. The Soufre Stadium comes alive. Tickets, $120 regular. More at the door. VIP, $400. Available at the Cell Outlets island-wide. Wings of Love in Castries. Mambo's Bar in Soufre. Or online at fourcirclestickets.com. Powered by VAC Event Production. Power 97.9 FM. Heineken. Bank of St. Lucia. Courts. Bounty Rum. J.P. Shennett. And Blue Waters. On Easter Sunday, we rise.
In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you.
The government of St. Lucia is the only government that believes that tourism will get back to how it was pre-COVID. I think it's the only government in the world that believes that. There's no other government, I think, who believes that except the government of St. Lucia. So what do? We continue with business as usual. We continue to build an airport based on the fact that our airport would get its income from arrivals. Are you serious?
In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you. In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you.
The government of St. Lucia is the only government that believes that tourism will get back to how it was pre-COVID. I think it's the only government in the world that believes that. There's no other government, I think, who believes that except the government of St. Lucia. So what do? We continue with business as usual. We continue to build an airport based on the fact that our airport would get its income from arrivals. Are you serious?
In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you.
According to Mr. Philip J. Pierre, in this business, your words can live to haunt you. Let's continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Once again, 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. And Mr. Producer, let's see if we can get some of the calls on the air right now. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me, in the meantime, try to go through some of your WhatsApp messages. Just bear with me while we try to get your messages on. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, I agree with that caller. What's the plan? They have to govern. No plan, just lies. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Bon après-midi, frère.
Yes, sir. Bon après-midi.
That's the way to abandon man.
Awa, man. Awa.
Saudi, Jante.
Jante.
Voilà.
Okay.
Oula jala.
Oui.
We call the juke boy chebe wed pamoli. Tim, I have 3 words for you, no? I have 3 words for you.
Yes, sir.
You ready for it? Timbuktu.
Timbuktu. I like that one.
3 words, Tim.
Yeah,
Timbuktu.
yeah. Timbuktu.
I wonder if the Prime Minister is familiar with where Timbuktu is and its strategic location on the map. And that Timbuktu is located in one of the driest places on earth. So for him to say if he has to barge water, and Timbuktu is nowhere near any and Timbuktu is nowhere near any major bodies of water out to perhaps the Mediterranean to the north. Okay? But anyways, not to belittle Timbuktu. Timbuktu has a very rich history, and I encourage all black people to look into the history of Timbuktu and how it relates to our education and things we know about youth. So Tim, are you familiar with the term scapegoating?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so to the people in the audience who might not be familiar with the term, scapegoating is an ancient Jewish practice whereby they pile all the sins of the tribe onto a goat and drive that goat out into the desert so it can die of hunger first, therefore absolving all the members of the tribe of their sins and their atrocities. Kind of like the same thing Christians do to Jesus. Okay? It's called scapegoating. Now, I am sick and tired of the Labour administration. For the past, I could understand, 7 years ago, when they were blaming the problems of the country on an Alan Chastney-led government, I could understand. But now that you're into your second term, Tim, every single thing is Alan is the scapegoat because of maybe Alan little cooler of YII, and Alan, maybe he's the color of his eyes or whatever, and his skin and so on and so forth, or maybe his social stature.
And and let's be blunt, let's be real, because they believe the people are stupid, because they have an audience. What they're doing there is that they are preaching to the audience, and if they believe the audience will not buy,
they're not preaching to no audience.
What
they're preaching
they are selling
to the choir.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, yeah, but they have an audience.
They're preaching to the choir, because all the people who are believing in the nonsense, Tim, are either uneducated or simply choose not to educate themselves on certain issues. So, you mean to tell me a sitting government desilted whatever percentage of the dam, okay? You came in and you did nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Okay? And now, and then now you're in Parliament waving papers talking about $69 million. It's the same bullshit you've been doing for years and years and years. And then you have people out there who's going to tell you, whether you like Richard or not, he always has his documents. What, the Pajoa letter? Which documents? How many of these people have actually seen those documents to say, okay, all right, Tim, I can use any text and make it say whatever I want. I can use almost any text, Tim, and make it say whatever it is I want by using certain parts of it and omitting this and that. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have St. Lucians who bite that bait, hook and sinker every single time. Because you know what, Tim? What do I always tell you, Tim? 2 Nobel laureates aside, St. Lucians as individuals may be brilliant, but collectively, we are stupid people. As a collective, as a St. Lucian collective, we are stupid. We have a hellish mentality. We just go with whatever popular narrative without ever digging into it. The lady called you the other day, encouraged you to think deep. You're not the one she has to encourage you to think deep. She has to encourage the general population to use their critical faculties. Okay? Appeal to your skepticism and not your credulity. You cannot just buy everything your local politician or your favorite politician says. Hook, line, and sinker. I support Alan Chastney and the Flambeau. I will not buy into everything Flambeau says. Hook, line, and sinker. Are you stupid? What I look like? A moron or what? To just believe in every single thing a man or woman who is not infallible say to me, and I'm just supposed to just accept it. Okay? Y'all are doing nothing. You guys, the current administration is doing nothing except borrowing money and passing the blame onto Alan Chastney. And frankly, if you are not tired of it already, I'm going to go off on a limb and call you a bloody retard. You are mentally retarded if you don't get tired of these things. These people who suffer from mental brain injuries, Tim, who enjoy repetition. You have to suffer a brain injury to enjoy the same old bullshit every single time an issue arises in the country where the government should be held accountable and responsible. They pass the buck, and their supporters are like, "Hey guys, Chastney pointed line, guys, and West Army say for them like $69 million, like 10%. So what about the dredging fees you guys have been collecting? Where has this money been going to? What you're doing? Ça so ka fait l'argent, messieurs. Ça so ka fait puis nous pas ka way." And I heard a lady talk about the hotel in Canals. Which hotel? I had the liberty of going down there last year in April after Peter Chico showed us what going on there. Free Chinese that day with a free-wheel van and mashing up our mangrove, eating everything from baby lobsters to everything. What them man feel they doing? Where is the BMAX project? Where is the shock housing? Where are the condos? The condos in Cul-de-sac? Nothing not happening in the country, guys. You'll stop everything as a airport development, everything you'll stop, guys. And then you'll poison in the mind of the people of the South and tell them Chastney put horse before hospital when the horse was a private endeavor. You cannot tell a private citizen what to build with their money. A private citizen don't owe St. Lucia no hospital. If it's his choice to contribute towards it, and that's his choice. But he's a private citizen, he's not the government. Government not owe you public hospital. When is the hospital opening? The physiotherapy building and the kitchen, that's still open. The people are still in the stadium. Last time I heard a lady saying about how the people in the emergency ward have to go and bathe outside. Because we're not even a third world or far periphery country anymore. Or developing nation. We're a fourth world country, guys. It's a fourth world country, guys. Every day we're getting more backwards. Every day as every other country makes strides to go forward and improve the lives of their citizens, we go more backwards. Now we have to order water from Dominica. The man cannot even say he go badge water from Miku. He go badge water from Timbuktu. You cannot even, they hate people in the South so much. They hate us so much. They outsource their cattle problem to us. And they won't even truck water from the South to take it to the hotels. And if it's a private endeavor by SLHT and whoever and whatnot, what's the dumb sense of you mentioning it in Parliament and then you have your cohort standing behind you, applauding you. Every little thing you say, they clapping, as if what you said is so profound that you're going to order what. Yeah, you familiar with the story of the emperor and his new clothes? Mm-hmm. When the emperor was walking down the street naked and everybody was cheering, and in his head, he was thinking that, oh yeah, they're cheering for me, but he's not realizing that they're laughing at his micro penis. Okay? This is what Philip JPA is, a naked emperor. He thinks that the people are cheering for him because they love him. No, they're cheering for him because they know if they cheer for him, he's going to do their will. He's going to bend to their will. So they show, okay, and then because they're cheering for him, he has that in his heart that, yeah, he's strutting around like a peacock as if he's the man. You're not no man. Guys, do us all a favor, guys, and hang your political boots, guys. You don't see the state of Masha? You don't see the state of Central Castries? When's the last time you've been to Castries? Castries smell like Somalia, guys. And now to make it worse, they don't have no water. Castries going to smell worse than Somalia. I mean, come on, bro. And then people come and, oh, my government is working and I'm there. Anyway, I'm going to give somebody else a chance. I said, this is ridiculous. Anyways, big up Senior Rigo, but anywhere you sit down or stand up in the world, sir. You already know. You're an inspiration to us all. Take care of yourself.
Thank
Later,
you so
Tim.
much. Somebody
Bye.
says the atheist, you the man, LOL. So we have a contest on our hands as to who is really the caller of the day. So I think we have 2 callers of the day. The NewsSpin statistician is on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir.
TV,
Any
sorry
new
to do that to you.
any new stats?
Yes, bro. The one I missed, I had it, but I missed it this afternoon. The guy, the stabbing at Bapatad, his name is Jermaine.
Yeah.
Okay? So whoever gave you that last information is correct. Okay? Jermaine.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. Thanks.
Thank you so much, the NewsSpin statistician, for your contribution. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see there if you have a WhatsApp message. Okay, somebody says there via WhatsApp. Tim, remind your callers that the 600 US 2.72 over 1.6 billion AC dollars. All right, another WhatsApp message. Another year paying and filing taxes, and another year being provided with excuses as to why I can't receive my tax returns, from remedial works to no money in accounts. 11 years now. You'd think after that resounding win, SLP would make sure they are fair and give the people what is owed to them, but it's only government workers and politicians getting their tax returns. Okay, let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. It says there via WhatsApp. Philip said that it's only Alan Chasney that believes that tourism is going to come back. Philip said that he was the Minister of Tourism and he never understood it. And today they are talking so highly of the same tourism. I just cannot get that with this government. Once again, your words can come to haunt you, and we provide you the evidence of that once again.
In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you.
The government of St. Lucia is the only government that believes that tourism will get back to how it was pre-COVID. I think it's the only government in the world that believes that. There's no other government, I think, who believes that except the government of St. Lucia. So what do? We continue with business as usual. We continue to build an airport based on the fact that our airport would get its income from arrivals. Are you serious?
In this business, I have learned that a lot of your words can live to haunt you.
You heard it there. Your words can live to haunt you. Somebody says via WhatsApp, today I think you may have 2 NewsSpin callers of the day. Yes, I think so. Let's see if we have another of your WhatsApp messages. And somebody says there via WhatsApp, good afternoon. The easiest thing is to fool the foolish. That's a WhatsApp message. And somebody says, caller, well said, mama. That's according to our WhatsApp message. Let's see if we have some more. Yet another comment. Timmy, that's all right. Everybody deserves the right to live. No matter what the person did to you, you have no right to take their life. Because God said in his word, vengeance is his. He will repay. That's according to a WhatsApp message. Another one says there's been a case of empty promises with the PJP government. They swept into office, leaving a trail of unfinished business in their wake. Despite their claims of progress, the truth is that nothing has been completed. St. Jude project is still languishing, and it's a similar story across the board. PJP, the Bible is referring to you, oh yeah, of little faith. That's according to a WhatsApp message. And let's see if we have another one to go through. Let's take a call instead. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Yes. The last caller who called about Timbuktu. From the time the Prime Minister said that, I wanted to call, but I was so disheartened. I was like, even if I said that, maybe a lot of solutions don't even know where Timbuktu is. That Timbuktu is an actual place, and they themselves have their own issues for water. So when the government would say that you will go to Timbuktu and take water, they didn't even think of that. They didn't even research it. to see where Timbuktu is. Right? And I sat down there, I made them, and I'm like, you know what? Just leave that, because solutions will not even get it. Because like the gentleman said, we have that herd mentality, whatever the people say. We don't do no research. We don't look up. And we have the technology at our hands. You can go on Google Maps, enter Timbuktu, and it will show you exactly where Timbuktu is. Right? And you can do the research for yourself. Those people have their own issues with water. So when Timbuktu is he going to get the water to bring to St. Lucia? You know? But I'm so happy that the caller came out and he said that gave me a little oomph to call and say what I had to say about Timbuktu. And people need to wake up. We need to wake up, Timothy, because this is getting out of hand. We have the technology at our fingertips. We have a computer in our hands, in our phone, and we do not do no research. We do not. Oh, yeah. Maybe my hair is turning gray just thinking about that.
Yeah, but caller, do you know that we use the phone, we use the Facebook to do what? Malicious things. To mislead one another, to disrespect people, to ridicule them. That's what we do. That's what we use the phone for.
That's exactly the point I'm making. We don't use it to educate ourselves. We use it to do jete parole. Say, hey, you know why so-and-so husband is? Or if you have a neighbor, post the people thing on the news. I am so sad about the way our island, our little country is coming, right? And I am on the other half of 50, and I'm so sad. I'm worried about my grandchildren that are coming up, and my great-grands. They will be the one paying for everything that is coming after. Right? They will be the one carrying the debt, right? And trying to survive the way St. Lucia is going to end up. Yeah. But Timothy,
okay, ma'am.
Thank you. And please, our people, wake up, do your research. Don't sit down there and drink everything that the politicians say to you. Think, use your brain.
Okay.
Timothy, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Now, Mr. Producer, after such a great show, and they say you're as good as your last program, we will not be having any NewsSpin tomorrow. So you're as good as your last program. We'll take a break tomorrow and we'll be back on Monday, right, Mr. Producer? We'll do that. We'll be back in just a moment, once again, with your calls and your WhatsApp messages, and also we'll have our NewsSpin news of the day on this, the most monitored talk show in the world.
To have a strong structure, you must have a strong foundation. And at Caribbean Pastors Limited, we offer top quality aggregate materials at great prices. We supply high quality ready mix, cast in sand and plastering sand. We also take special requests for specific materials that you may require for your building projects. Caribbean Pastors Limited is located in Bexon behind Essential Hardware. Give us a call at 489-0074. We're open from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sundays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Caribbean Pastors Limited. Quality construction, our priority.
First National Bank is here for you. Let's make your first wish come true. With a mortgage built around you, tailored to make sure everything's smooth. 100% financing, it's true. Get a first wish mortgage, it's the best move. Get your mortgage now and fulfill your first wish. Just knowing that First National Bank is here for you. Let's make your first wish come true.
Visit your First National Bank branch or firstnationalbankonline.com to apply for your first wish mortgage.
La Clinique de Corps leads the Caribbean in advanced MRI, aligned with globally recognized standards. Avoid overseas stress, delays, and cancelled scans. Reports in 24 to 48 hours. No translation, no overseas processing. Your doctor receives your imaging directly for seamless continuity of care. All major insurance accepted. Call 451-6559. Once again, 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950. The WhatsApp number 721-9950.
Need branded apparel that looks sharp and shows up on time? Welcome to Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts. We specialize in custom embroidery and t-shirt printing for businesses, teams, events, you name it. From embroidered logos on polished Oxford shirts, available in a variety of colors for men and women, to bold, high-quality printed tees that turn heads, we do it all. Bring your own shirts or choose from ours. Small runs, big orders, rush jobs, no problem. At Imprinted Designs, we're built for speed, efficiency, and clean professional results delivered on time, every time. So if you want your brand to stand out, not wait around, come down to Imprinted Designs at the Valmore Plaza or hit us up at 451-2920 or email address imprinteddesignsSLU@gmail.com. Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts.
It's in the feeling in our weak side. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. 'Cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong. No matter what, we keep things flowing. Before we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky. Celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
The Roadhouse experience awaits. Crave something real? Get ready to experience the ultimate destination for unforgettable memories. The Roadhouse experience. Feast your senses with exceptional service, all under one roof. From our classic restaurant and bar to our exclusive private nightclub. Unwind at our elevated hookah bar. Gather in our versatile conference room for any event, or even shop at our variety store. Ditch the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Raj Roadhouse promises real vibes, real fun. Nestled in cul-de-sac along the Bexar Highway. Call us at 286-6249 for more information.
Lucelec would like to inform customers that its automated account inquiry service at 457-4433 is temporarily unavailable. Customers are encouraged to sign up for the free Lucelec My Account online service at myaccount.lucelec.com for access to their account information, including their bill balance. Customers may also call or WhatsApp 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or email customer support at lucelec.com for assistance from the Lucelec Customer Service Department. Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience this may cause and thanks customers for their understanding and patience.
Are you a young poet with something to say? Then this is your moment. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank presents the 2026 Creative Youth Competition in Poetry, calling all secondary schools and college students from across the 8 ECCB member countries. If you're between the ages of 12 and 15 or 16 and 20 years old, this competition is for you. Express yourself on powerful topics like Voices of a Changing Caribbean, Becoming Me, Exploring Identity Growth and Self-Discovery, and Through My Own Eyes. Let your words inspire. Massive prizes to be won. First prize, $3,000. Second prize, $2,500. And third prize, $1,500. Entries close on March 31st, 2026. So don't wait. Start writing today. For more information, visit www.eccb-centralbank.org. The 2026 Creative Youth Competition. Your voice, your story, your future.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world, and a tsunami it's being simulated today, and it's called Carib Wave 2026. We now hear from the director of the National Emergency Management Organization, Kenneth Isenbert, on the simulation of tsunami, and the drill is taking place in the communities of Labre, Choiseul, and also Vieux-Fort South.
St. Lucia will once again take part in the annual Carib Wave tsunami exercise, a regional simulation designed to evaluate and strengthen tsunami preparedness among countries and Caribbean territories and adjacent regions. The exercise will take place on Thursday, March 19th, 2026. This drill allows participating countries to evaluate their emergency communication systems, response procedures, and coordination among national agencies responsible for disaster management. In St. Lucia, the exercise will involve the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, in coordination with St. Lucia Met Services, along with key partners such as emergency services, government agencies, and community stakeholders. Through simulated scenarios, participants will practice receiving tsunami alerts, activate emergency protocols, and implementing safety measures to protect lives and property. The exercise schedule and alert methods are as follows. On Thursday, 19th March 2026, a tsunami warning will be activated island-wide, and residents and visitors should expect the following. Mobile alerts. Customers of Digicel and Flow will receive a simulated emergency SMS alert on their mobile devices. Local signals in the participating districts of Labrie, Choiseul, and Vieux-Fort South. Residents may hear the sounding of sirens and the ringing of church bells. Evacuation drills. The participating districts will practice moving to the designated high ground or the evacuation points. The Carib Wave exercise also serves as an important opportunity to raise public awareness about tsunami hazards and to encourage individuals, businesses, schools to become familiar with safety procedures such as evacuation routes and moving to higher ground if a tsunami warning is issued. By taking part in this annual regional exercise, St. Lucia continues to strengthen its disaster preparedness efforts and reinforce its commitment to safeguarding communities against coastal hazards. The National Emergency Management Organization encourages full participation from the general public and once again wants to reinforce this is just a drill.
All right, so this exercise occurred this morning. You just heard there from the director of the National Emergency Organization, NEMO, and her name is Kenitha Isenbert. So good afternoon to all the folks at the National Emergency Management Organization. I understand I have lots of friends at NEMO, so good afternoon to you. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room. Janti.
Well, Tim, starting off on YouTube, our first comment reads, apart from buying more jet skis and vehicles for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, what has PJP and the SLP done to fight crime? What is their long...
As usual, need to clear the throat.
Their long-term strategy to fight crime. Another saying, Tim, you are a true legend for those clips. PJP, your little black boy majesty, I humbly beg you to tell St. Lucia how much of Saudi loans, the $2 million you spent on St. Jude's and the stadium. Facebook, our first comment reads, day 19, and yet still we don't know whether Vanguard's contract will be renewed or not. That's why you can't sleep, PJP. Your words are now haunting you. Tim, have you seen the price list for deposits to be made to the different wards at St. Jude's Hospital? We have another comment saying, this is very childish, not continuing a project because you're against a party or a particular minister. Tim, I hope you have a good lawyer when you're playing these clips of our PM, where his words have been haunting him. I can't lend you my lawyer because the last case my lawyer won was a case of bears and a case of bounty. We have a few more comments here reading, I feel that's a ploy for SLP to get UWP supporters on Bax's side, a big lever just like them, pretending to have a fight. The $200 million was for St. Jude's and the stadium team, not just St. Jude's only. And now they need another $50 million for St. Jude's. What is really going on? SLP is the previous government. Don't they know that by now? We have another comment here saying, caller incompetence is always married with excuses and blame. On point, Tim. So why would they change the strategy to help them win, aka the stupid Malaways? The caller was on point. I don't know how the people can't see SLP is just a government of useless excuses. Mwem, just last. Shaking my head. Caller, they cannot stop and will never stop blaming the UWP. UWP is their lifeline. Shh. Don't say that too loud. The Marcos are monitoring. I am not as lucky as Bax is, so my lips remain sealed. We have another Facebook comment, saying, shaking my head, what PJP is doing with all of that money, I'm not seeing it anyway. I want to know where all that money coming from so I can borrow some for myself. Caller of the day again. We have our Facebook news spinners saying, thank you, caller. PJP, your words just start to haunt and drag you. Don't forget, caller, Shas was there for just one term. They've been there for 2. Rick, you have competition with these callers today. We have another comment saying they voted for CXCs and not Brain. Tim, I say again, these guys have no strategy, no plan, no idea, no solutions to take St. Lucia anywhere. The last caller made a great contribution. When I see these men in parliament just having a laugh, we know that the country is led by clowns. Another news spinner saying, call Richard, for he said St. Lucians don't like to read. This is why this is happening to us. Talking about the last government, y'all were the last government. Get that through your heads. I have been calling the St. Lucia electricity service all day, and they have yet to answer the phone. Why is doing business in St. Lucia so difficult? Absolutely no progress in the south. And our last few comments saying, I suspect Philip not sleeping at nights at all. Caller, most people, the phone in their hand is much smarter than they are. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Jante, for that. The final update from you. Finally from us, the NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads, Russia sends oil and gas tankers to crisis hit Cuba, defying U.S. blockade. Russia sends oil and gas tankers to crisis hit Cuba, defying U.S. blockade. The NewsSpin news of the day. That's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. Don't forget, please like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell to help the NewsSpin channel grow. My name is Timothy Poleon. Continue to enjoy your Thursday, and we will be back tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Goodbye.